A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
And away we go. Episode 1101 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. It is the 2-year anniversary of the Wizards officially announcing having traded Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns, who these days reportedly cannot wait to get rid of Beal. This also is the day before the first round of the 2025 NBA draft, in which our rebuilding and tanking Wizards have the numbers 6 and 18 overall picks. You know, it was 14 years ago today that we were discussing what the Wizards did with the numbers 6 and 18 overall picks in the 2011 NBA draft, which took place on June 23rd, 2011. Yeah, the Wizards in the 2011 NBA draft, just like in this 2025 NBA draft, had the numbers 6 and 18 overall picks. Do you remember what our wonderful Wizards did with those picks?
With the 6th pick in the 2011 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Jan Vesely from Ostrava, Czech Republic. He last played for Partizan Belgrade.
Yes, thank you. Then NBA Commissioner David Stern, the Wizards in the first round of the 2011 NBA Draft took Jan Vesely with the number 6 overall pick and took Chris Singleton with the number 18 overall pick. 2 absolute busts. 2 complete whiffs. Let us hope that our Wizards do better with the numbers 6 and 18 overall picks in the 2025 NBA Draft. Hello and welcome to this Tuesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. We hope that our Wizards in the 2025 NBA Draft have good luck, just like the Commanders this past season enjoyed good luck. Next segment, a deep dive on the Commanders' good luck in their Renaissance 2024 season, as I'll chat with Brian Burke of ESPN Analytics. Brian is a founding father of NFL analytics. He is a legend in the field, and he's going to go in-depth on this concept of luck and to what extent the Commanders' success this past season was luck versus the team just being much improved. Now, the answer, of course, is that both things are true. The Commanders were much improved, especially at the quarterback position. But the team also saw a lot of things break in the team's favor. With Brian, we'll explore specific areas in the NFL most impacted by luck, and Brian will tell us about his interaction with Commanders head coach Dan Quinn during his time as Atlanta Falcons head coach. We'll get some story time with Brian. Also on the show, we'll talk Nationals and Orioles. The Nats, they late night on Monday night won at the San Diego Padres 10-6 as James Wood had another big game. The former Padres prospect. He is an at-starting left fielder and number 2 batter, went 3 for 5 with a 3-run homer, an RBI single, and another single. The O's, they on Monday evening beat the Texas Rangers 6-0 at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. As starting pitcher Trevor Rogers tossed 8 scoreless innings. Before we get to some feedback, some Wizards news, multiple reports on Monday afternoon that Chris Middleton, not surprisingly, is exercising his $33.3 million player option for the 2025-2026 season. Would love to see our rebuilding and tanking Wizards trade Middleton, but that salary makes trading him a bit tricky. $33.3 million for Chris Middleton. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. More feedback on what we talked about on this past Thursday show, episode 1098, theories for why the Commanders' home attendance for the 2024 regular season was stunningly down from the team's home attendance for the 2023 regular season. I laid out 4 theories, but I admitted to there being flaws with each theory. There are no clear-cut, obvious reasons for why the Commanders' horrible 2023 team outdrew the wonderful 2024 team. Email from Ryan. Writes Ryan, hello Al, all of your theories on comparing the attendance between the last 2 seasons focus on why or why not fans of the home team are coming out to games. I would like to offer an alternative theory. Perhaps it has more to do with the fans of the visiting teams. For years, we have seen visiting fans take over our stadium. I am sure that the fans of teams within driving distance, especially those of our NFC East rivals, would check out schedules and circle the games in Washington. Heck, it might have even been easier for these people to get tickets to our stadium than for these people to get tickets to their own stadiums. Perhaps last season, these same fans viewed coming to Washington as less of a slam dunk good time than previously. It sure seemed, watching the games on TV, that there was more vocal support for and more home team colors than previous seasons. What say you? Thanks for all that you do. Well, thank you for the email, Ryan. That theory certainly is plausible. But then why weren't more of the tickets traditionally bought by opposing teams' fans bought by Commanders fans? Like, yeah, maybe there were fewer opposing team fans at Commanders home games last regular season. That does make sense, but that doesn't answer why more Commanders fans didn't go to games. Why did whatever increase there was in Commanders fans going to games not override the fewer opposing team fans going to games? Email from Jim D. Writes, Jim, since we're on the subject, I'd like to give my take on this attendance situation. I think a lot of it has to do with the team's season ticket base. Based off what I can gather, the backbone of an NFL team's ticket sales is the season ticket base. I agree with you when you say that there was a bump with the sale of the team, but after the horrendous season that was 2023, I'm sure that there were more than a few people who were unsure about the next season and didn't renew. However, I don't think that this is something to be overly concerned about. The Detroit Lions have also been bottom 10 in the NFL over the last few years in attendance, and they have been one of the most elite teams in the last 2 years. It will take time to build attendance back up again. I fully expect off this magical 2024 season that season ticket sales will rebound in 2025, praying for continued success and good health. Well, thank you very much for that, Jim. We discussed the season ticket theory on Monday's show, episode 1100. The season ticket theory does make some sense, no question. That may well be a factor. Email from Brian Young. Writes Brian, hey there, Al. As the famous political analyst James Carville once said, it's the economy, stupid. The interest in the team was and is the highest in 30 years, so the only explanation is that people don't have the spending money, especially to go to FedEx, regardless of the improvements. Uncertainty with how the team was going to perform last year also contributed to the wait-and-see attitude about going to the games. I fully expect this year to be much better with, wait for it, one of the highest attendance percentages in the league. One can dream. Thank you for the email, Brian. The economy theory, especially given the inflation in this country over the last few years, makes a lot of sense. That's a good theory. Regarding the interest in the team being the highest in 30 years, so the question would be, is the interest in the Commanders the highest that interest in the team has been in 30 years? The concern, if you're the team, would be, has the fan base eroded to where interest in the team was significantly higher in, say, the Redskins playoff seasons of 2005, 2007, 2012, and 2015 than this past season? To what degree is the decline in attendance from the 2023 regular season to the 2024 regular season a function of the fan base having been lessened? It's going to be really interesting to see what the team's home attendance is for this coming regular season. Well, we may not know for sure why the Commanders' home attendance for this past regular season was down, but we do know that even with basketball season now over, there still is ample opportunity to run your game on Prize Picks via baseball. Put your knowledge of Washington and Baltimore to work for you on Prize Picks, which is offering free cash to listeners of this podcast. Download the Prize Picks app and use the promo code Galdi, my last name, Galdi. You do that, you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks Pick'em is available in Virginia and Washington, D.C. You just pick more or less on players in various statistical categories like RBI or strikeouts. And Prize Picks Streak has arrived in Maryland. You make a free daily pick. Just choose more or less on one featured player projection each day and build your streak by winning for 2 or more days. Each correct pick grows your streak. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports app, and Prize Picks is offering a special deal to listeners of the Al Galdi podcast. Download the app and use the promo code Galdi, my last name, Galdi. You do that, you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is awesome. I've used it. It's a ton of fun. It's easy to use. You make your picks in less than 60 seconds. You can turn your opinions into real money on Prize Picks and take advantage of what Prize Picks is offering to listeners of this podcast. Download the app, use the promo code Galdi, and you get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Yo, it's D-Lo. I'm partnering with Ro. Women, y'all feel that? It's sexy. But if you're stressing about your performance, it throws you off. That's why I rock with Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks dissolve under your tongue and hit fast so you're ready when the moment pops off. You feel like a superhero. It's satisfying your partner. That's key. Rose Sparks help you last longer, stay fuller, and keep the whole vibe right. With Prescribe, new patients get $15 off their first order. Hit up ro.co/backyard and to see if Rose Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/backyard and see if Rose Sparks are right for you.
Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved. Do not undergo FDA safety effectiveness or manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info.
Hey, please consider subscribing to the podcast if you're not already doing that. Subscribing to the podcast costs nothing. Make sure that you never miss an episode and helps out the podcast a lot. And if you're already subscribing, thank you. There for a while now has been a good bit of talk about the luck that the Commanders enjoyed in their great 2024 season. Not that they last season were not a good team, but that they last season benefited from notoriously volatile and fluky things that broke in the team's favor. There in sports is this sensitivity to the word luck, but the concept of luck really has been illuminated by analytics. There in all sports are things that tend to fluctuate. And if a team in a season sees a lot of these things fluctuate in a positive direction, then that team is said to have benefited from luck that season. Doesn't mean that the team was terrible. Doesn't mean that the team didn't deserve whatever success that the team had. This just is sober, objective analysis of what went into a team's season. We on this podcast have talked about these things. Sam Fortier of the Washington Post, he recently wrote about the Commanders' luck this past season. This is a piece that came out on June 17th, and I am very pleased to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast a man who understands the concept of luck in the NFL from an analytics perspective as well as anyone does. He is Brian Burke of ESPN Analytics. Brian is a true original gangster, a true OG in the world of football analytics. He founded the website Advanced Football Analytics in 2006. He has created / developed / pioneered a number of stats that now are common in football analytics: air yards, expected points added or EPA, win rates, win probability, ESPN's total QBR. And Brian is maybe most famous for advocating that NFL teams should be going for it on fourth downs far more often than teams were going for it on fourth downs years ago, long before going for it on fourth down became popular. Brian was in the Navy for 15 years. He's from Baltimore. He now resides in Virginia. You can follow Brian on X at Burke ESPN. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
So the notion of luck, Tom Bliss is a senior manager and football operations data scientist for the NFL. He, since the start of the 2022 regular season, has compiled luck dashboards, which quantify luck for NFL teams based on 4 key scenarios in which, quote, teams benefit from actions in a game that are almost entirely derived from opponent performance or lucky bounces, end quote. And he measures the impact of these scenarios via win probability. The 4 scenarios: number 1, an opponent drops a pass on offense; number 2, an opponent drops an interception on defense; number 3, an opponent misses a kick; number 4, either team recovers a fumble. The Commanders for the 2024 regular season were number 1 on the luck dashboard with a net win probability added of plus 185.5%. The Commanders were the luckiest team in an NFL regular season since at least the start of the 2022 regular season, when, again, Bliss started tracking this stuff. What do you make of the degree to which the Commanders this past season benefited from luck?
Yeah, no, that I completely agree with that analysis. I think the Commanders were exceptionally lucky. I think they made huge strides, and obviously they found a star quarterback, which is the most important thing. But yeah, when you say they benefited, so I'm looking at the chart you mentioned, and 185 percentage points of win probability added. So the way you can think of that is they sort of benefited by almost 2 wins. So if you subtracted 2 wins from the regular season, that would be kind of a luck neutral kind of outcome for them. They played well in the playoffs, though. I think, if I remember, that there was some luck in there too. But those sorts of things like fumble recoveries, like that is really luck. And when we say luck, we can really test that out. We can kind of prove it. Like I'll take all their even numbered games and all their odd numbered games in a season and say, does their fumble recovery rate in the even numbered games correlate with the odd numbered games? And it just doesn't correlate, which means it doesn't persist. It's not a persistent skill. So that's how we know these things are very random and not kind of part of how good a team is.
You essentially created win probability for the NFL, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't invent the idea. The idea sort of existed, but I would say I was the first to actually build a model that worked well.
Okay, and you just hit on this, but the significance of the Commanders for the 2024 regular season being number 1 on the luck dashboard with a net win probability added of plus 185.5%, a net win probability added of plus 185.5% is gargantuan, right?
It is, yeah, it's monstrous. Like I said, it's basically just tacking on 2 extra wins, in theory. Over the long run, if luck had broken evenly for them, they probably, they would have finished, 2 fewer wins.
Another area in which you could argue the Commanders enjoy good luck this past season is 3rd and 4th down efficiencies. The Commanders for the 2024 regular season were number 4 in the NFL in 3rd down efficiency, 45.6%, and were number 1 in the NFL in 4th down efficiency, 87%, 20 for 23. 3rd and 4th down efficiencies tend to fluctuate year to year. However, the Commanders this past season had a quarterback in Jaden Daniels who had an all-time great rookie season. He was really good, and you certainly can make the case that the team did so well on 3rd and 4th downs because Daniels was really good, more so than things just broke well for the team in the luck department. How likely might it be that the Commanders in the 2025 season, instead of regressing on 3rd and 4th downs, again do very well on 3rd and 4th downs, given that the team now has a very good quarterback?
Yeah, well, it's impossible to kind of totally parse apart the contribution of kind of luck and then skill in this case. But you can get a really good idea. So one of the things I do is for each team, I can calculate what their expected fourth down conversion rate should be. So that's based on all the situations and down distance yard lines, and how good the offense is overall. And so you put this in a model and say, overall, given all the fourth downs that they went for, they should have converted a little bit north of 50% of all those fourth downs, but they actually converted 87%. And that just defies gravity. I mean, it's awesome. And I'm sure just watching, it's partly due to Jalen Daniels, but it's unsustainable. So you can bet on it regressing. Now, that's not to say we're not saying next year they'll be below average. Somehow there's some debt to be paid back to the gods of luck or something. It's just that it's just very improbable to achieve that level of overperformance year after year.
It makes sense why NFL teams' fourth down efficiencies tend to fluctuate season to season. The sample size of fourth down attempts for an NFL team in a regular season just is so small. I mean, the Commanders in the 2024 regular season went 20 for 23 on fourth downs. That was great, but 23 is a small sample size. What, though, about third downs? The Commanders for the 2024 regular season went 99 for 217 on third downs. 217 is not some tiny sample size. No NFL team this past regular season had fewer than 190 third down attempts. Why is third down efficiency volatile if the sample sizes are pretty big?
Yeah, same thing. It's just a subsample. I mean, football is a small sample sport to begin with, and so whenever you slice it into smaller bits like red zone or third down, now I think third down does have meaning beyond just kind of a one slice, a smaller subsample. It's a passing down unless it's 3rd and 1. Or third and short 2, it's going to be a passing down. So what that means is it's up to your quarterback. Can he scramble for the extra couple yards? Is he how good are your blockers versus a defensive pressure that knows it's a pass and they can just pin their ear back, so to speak? How well is your quarterback? Basically, that's the only time you see these like hyper exotic kind of simulated pressures and exotic coverages is on plays where a pass is coming, because it sort of leaves the defense sort of unguarded against runs. So it does have meaning, and basically it's like, I know it's a pass, it's a pass. How good are you in that situation?
Much more with Brian Burke in moments. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, continues to do great work. Just recently, an $8 million jury verdict in Baltimore City Circuit Court in a case in which the Nace Law Group represented the family of a 42-year-old man who died after a simple procedure. Lead attorney Chris Nace is a big Commanders fan, a big supporter of this podcast, and his firm wins trials. If you have a case, contact the Nace Law Group. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group is tremendous. It is a Washington, D.C.-based family law firm that handles medical malpractice, personal injury, birth injury, legal malpractice, and consumer protection cases, offering aggressive advocacy for victims in Washington, D.C. and West Virginia. Lead attorney Chris Nace is an experienced trial attorney who is not afraid to take cases to trials, and that's because the Nace Law Group wins trials. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or Washington, D.C., injurylawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. We're talking with Brian Burke of ESPN Analytics. A third area in which you could argue the Commanders enjoyed good luck this past season is health. one of your fellow NFL analytics pioneers, Aaron Schatz. He has the metric adjusted games lost, which quantifies the impact of injuries on a team by considering both the number of games a player misses and the importance of that player to the team. The Commanders for the 2024 regular season were number 5 in the NFL in fewest adjusted games lost. We know that injury luck is volatile. That said, we also know that some teams do better jobs than other teams do of taking care of players and perhaps reduce the randomness of player health. The Commanders, under managing partner Josh Harris and general manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn, have put money and strategy into player health. To what extent can NFL teams impact player health on a season-to-season basis?
Yeah, I think you can reduce the exposure to injuries, but I don't think there's ever been a study or an analysis that's convinced me in any way that there's some way to predict these things. It's so fluky. Another player rolls up on your ankle, in a melee, in a scrum, on a pass block play, and okay, now you lose your guard for the rest of the season. There's no way to kind of predict that or stop that except to minimize the exposure, minimize the amount of times that happens. You can't do that in games. You can do that in practice, but obviously there's a trade-off there in terms of practicing. You mentioned Dan Quinn. I think that's the change in leadership and the change in the staff throughout, not specific to like injury luck, but completely throughout the top to bottom of the organization is sort of a brand new organization. I don't think you can understate how different things must be in that building and what a difference that makes. I'm a big believer in the power of leadership. And I've met Dan Quinn a few times, consulted for the Falcons when he was down there. And man, people love that guy. People would run through a wall for that guy. I'm a big fan of his. So I think some of what we're seeing, that maybe we're tossing up to luck could be attributed to the new staff.
I didn't realize that you had worked with Dan Quinn. What was that experience like?
I wouldn't say I worked with him. The GM is like, hey, come down here and make my coaches smarter on some things. So I did. That was actually the last thing I did before I joined ESPN.
It's interesting with Dan Quinn because he does seem very open to analytics. And yeah. So, which I have loved to see, but it sounds like you very much picked up on this with Quinn.
Yeah. The Cowboys were kind of all in last year. I visited them in the offseason a couple years ago when he was defensive coordinator down there. And I know the Falcons had a good staff in his later years in Atlanta. So yeah, I think he is a big believer. I'll tell you a very funny, quick story if we have time. I went to the Naval Academy, so we studied all kinds of, like warfare type stuff. And one of the things I read was this book called The Art of War by Sun Tzu, right? It's this like ancient Chinese, book of wisdom about warfare. And I was waiting to go into his office to talk to him. And I noticed he had a copy of that book in his like waiting room on the coffee table there. And I was like, oh yeah, there's some quatrain in Art of War about like analytics kind of thing. Like the general counts many times before a battle, always wins. And the general who does not count, always loses, something like that. So I'm on my BlackBerry at the time. Like, what is it? And I'm trying to look it up. And so I go into the office and this is going to be my opener. And it's like, hey, Coach Quinn. And so I begin my brief. I have this PowerPoint. I was like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Art of War, but Sun Tzu once said, and I had him. He's like, yeah, he bought in.
That is great. I love that. Brian Burke of ESPN Analytics. Brian, thanks. All the best.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
All right. It's interesting. If you go through the Commanders' games from this past regular season, you do see instances of very good luck. And again, this doesn't mean that the team was not a good team, but the team did benefit from some good fortune. Just to throw some examples of this at you, this past September 15th, the Commanders' 21-18 win over the New York Giants at Northwest Stadium on a 4th and 4 for the Giants at the Commanders 22 with 2:09 left in the fourth quarter. Giants receiver Malik Neighbors dropped a well-placed shotgun pass by quarterback Daniel Jones. Neighbors had a big game in this game, 10 receptions for 127 yards and a touchdown on 18 targets, but he had that big drop. That was good luck for the Commanders. This past November 10th, the Commanders' 28-27 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers at Northwest Stadium. The Steelers had a failed first-quarter fake punt play as cornerback James Pierre, who was with the Commanders during the 2024 offseason and preseason, had an atrocious drop. He was wide open, but failed to catch the pass from safety Miles Killebrew. That was good luck for the Commanders. This past December 15th, the Commanders' 2019 win at the New Orleans Saints. Saints tight end Jawan Johnson on the final snap of the game dropped what would have been the game-winning two-point conversion. Commanders cornerback Noah Igbenogany did have tight coverage on Johnson, but the ball hit Johnson on both hands, and he dropped the ball. That was good luck for the Commanders. And certainly the Commanders this past regular season at times were plagued by bad luck, but when you net everything out, you're looking at a net win probability added of plus 185.5%. That is colossal. You hope that kind of luck is in effect for our team this coming season, but you certainly can't count on that. Hey, if you're planning a party, a family reunion, a wedding, a corporate gathering, and aren't sure where to start or what to do, no worries, no stress. Just visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Catering by Uptown is run by the Pereiras, who are great Commanders fans and loyal supporters of this podcast. Catering by Uptown provides both great service and a great price. Catering by Uptown is a family business, and it specializes in handling everything so that you don't have to. Catering by Uptown understands that special events deserve to be celebrated in style. Catering by Uptown takes care of every detail so that you can enjoy your event. Catering by Uptown is committed to meeting your needs and exceeding your expectations. Great service, amazing cuisine, and reliability are the foundation of what makes Catering by Uptown one of the most referred caterers throughout Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. And know this, if you visit cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can set up your own personal tour of one of Catering by Uptown's premier venues, including outstanding waterfront venues. Catering by Uptown offers the ability to coordinate services at over 100 of the best reception halls, vineyards, farms, historic homes, event venues, banquet facilities, and wedding venues in the area. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Well, the Nationals now are 3-2 since their 11-game losing streak. A 10-6 win at the San Diego Padres late night on Monday night in Game 1 of a 3-game series. A nice win for Nats manager Davey Martinez and the boys.
I'm proud of the boys.
Yes, thank you, Davey. The boys, the Nats in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 33-46. Now, before we go any further, a scary situation in this game. Keibert Ruiz, he is the Nats starting catcher and number 8 batter, went 0 for 1 and left the game off being struck on the head by a Josh Bell foul ball while in the dugout. Ruiz was pinch hit for by Riley Adams during a Nats 4-run fourth. Here was Davey Martinez during his postgame session with reporters early Tuesday morning on Ruiz, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
Yeah, I don't know yet. He's getting a CAT scan. I mean, the ball hit him pretty solid inside the head. We'll see how he's doing. I haven't got any results or anything back yet.
What is your reaction when you see that and find out about it?
I mean, first we all ducked, and when he went down, we kind of got scared a little bit. He had a nice lump on his head, so a little concerned right now that he's actually getting a CAT scan, and hopefully he comes out of it okay.
Was he conscious the whole time? No issues, anything?
He was coherent. He was they asked him questions. He was answering correctly, but it's still a little bit concerned because it is his head.
Did he get hit? Did it bounce or did it catch him flush? You know?
No, it bounced. It bounced first, but I mean,
but it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
Do we keep her somebody who wants to play every single day, plus some? What is his durability and just dependability into this team?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, hopefully he's okay. You know, and Riley comes in, does a great job to fill in, but. You know, I love that kid. You know, like I said, he wants to play every day. You know, he's a gamer, so hopefully, you know, it's just precautionary. He comes back and he's good to go.
All right, so we certainly wish Keibert Ruiz the best. Meantime, the Nats offense, it overall has not been good in this month of June, but the Nats offense late night on Monday night was terrific. The Nats in this game totaled 10 runs, 15 hits and 2 walks, went 7 for 14 with runners in scoring position. This game was like batting practice for the Nats. The 15 hits were 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 11 singles. And the Nats did all of this despite striking out 14 times. Each of the top 6 batters in the Nats lineup had at least 2 hits. We'll go in order. C.J. Abrams, he is the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, went 3 for 5 with 3 singles and a stolen base. He did commit a fielding error, but Abrams continues to do well. He, for this regular season now, is number 2 among all qualified Nats players in OPS at 843. James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, went 3 for 5 with a 3-run homer, an RBI single, and another single. Wood in a Nats 3-run 8th had a 2-out, 3-run homer to right field for a 9-3 Nats lead. Wood now for this regular season is number 1 among all qualified Nats players and is number 5 among all qualified players in MLB at OPS at 948, and he is number 1 on the Nats and number 6 in MLB in home runs with 22. So C.J. Abrams and James Wood hunting the Padres. Abrams and Wood, each of whom the Nats got from the Padres in the mega trade of outfielder Juan Soto and first baseman Josh Bell to the Padres on August 2nd, 2022, what was 2022 MLB trade deadline day. During Davey Martinez's post-game session with reporters early Tuesday morning, had the following exchanges.
Theoretically, this could have been a place that James and CJ, you know, there's history here. Tonight it seemed like they were perfectly comfortable. Why is that?
Sorry about it. I mean, it's they're Nat, right? I mean, that's how the game goes. I mean, you know, they got a pretty good play in the trade. We got, you know, really good players in the trade, so it worked out for us. I mean, like I said earlier, you know, these guys are the cornerstones of our organization right now. You know, they're young, they're full of energy. As you can see, they love to play the game, and those two guys on the field, Wood, you know, CJ, they're helping us win a lot of games. You know, McKenzie, when he pitches every 5 days, he goes out there and competes and gives us a chance to win a game as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
What did you see from CJ and James where they were able to just stay calm, cool and collected, and didn't let the hype of the fact that they were, you know, traded from here affect them?
Oh, yeah, they went out there and just played. They played the game the right way. I mean, that's what they did. I mean, you know, they both had a game plan. They executed the game plan, and like I said, they both had some big at bats for us today and played really well.
All right, Luis Garcia Jr., he is the Nats starting second baseman and number 3 batter, went 2 for 5 with a double and an RBI single. Garcia for this regular season now is number 3 among all qualified Nats players in OPS at 748. Nathaniel Lowe, he is the Nats starting first baseman and number 4 batter, went 2 for 5 with an RBI single and another single. Josh Bell, he is the Nats starting DH and number 5 batter, went 2 for 4 with a solo homer, an RBI single, and an RBI sac fly. And Brady House, he is the Nats starting third baseman and number 6 batter, went 2 for 5 with a double, an RBI single, and a stolen base. Good to see him have a good game. Monday marked 1 week since the Nats on June 16th announced having selected the contract of House from AAA Rochester. He since being called up has an OPS of just 567 over 35 plate appearances, but small sample size, of course. The Nats starting pitcher in this 10-6 win at the Padres late night on Monday night was Mitchell Parker. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings. He gave up 6 hits, which were 2 home runs and 4 singles. He issued 2 walks. He recorded just 1 strikeout, though. He did throw a lot of strikes, 96 pitches, 64 strikes versus just 32 balls. It was a shame how Parker's outing ended. Parker allowed 2 runs in 6 innings, but he, in the bottom of the 7th, gave up a leadoff first pitch home run by Jake Cronenworth to right center field and then was pulled from the game. So without that final pitch, you're looking at 2 runs in 6 innings. So Mitchell Parker now for this regular season, 16 starts, ERA of 4.59, whip of 1.32. And then there was the Nats bullpen in this 10-6 win at the Padres late night on Monday night. 3 Nats relievers combined to allow 3 runs in 3 innings. Brad Lord did very well. He faced 6 batters and got 6 outs. But Zach Brixey allowed 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He, in the bottom of the 9th, was a mess. He gave up 2 singles, a 3-run homer, and a walk, and he ended up being pulled from the game. The 3-run homer that Brixey gave up was a 2-out, 3-run bomb by Fernando Tatis Jr. to left center field to cut the Nats' lead to 10-6. The homer went a projected 435 feet per Statcast. And so Davey Martinez, in a game in which the Nats had held a 10-3 ninth inning lead, went to his closer, Kyle Finnegan, to end the game as Brixey could not close out what should have been a blowout win. Finnegan faced 1 batter, got 1 out to end the game. But even in a game that the Nats end up winning by 4 runs, 10-6, the oh-so-bad bullpen leaves you with a bad taste. Brixey, by the way, now has appeared in 11 games this month. I don't know why we are seeing so much of this guy, but we are seeing quite a bit of this guy. Game 2 for the Nats at the Padres, Tuesday night at 9:40. Trevor Williams will be the Nats starting pitcher.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed-sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Well, the Orioles on Monday evening got maybe their best outing from a starting pitcher so far this season, and the outing came from Trevor Rogers. A 6-0 win over the Texas Rangers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Game 1 of a 3-game series, as the O's, Joe Angel, were back in the win column.
And the Orioles again in the win column.
Yes, thank you, Joe. The win column of the O's in MLB's 2025 regular season now are 34-44, including 18-10 since their 16-34 start. And Trevor Rogers on Monday evening was great. He tossed 8 scoreless innings. He had 4 strikeouts versus no walks. He gave up just 3 hits, all of which were singles. He threw a lot of strikes, 101 pitches, 72 strikes versus just 29 balls. The O's last July 30th announced having traded second baseman / outfielder Connor Norby and outfielder Kyle Stowers to the Miami Marlins for Rogers in a trade that has looked really bad with how well Stowers is doing and with how poorly Rogers had been doing. Rogers was so bad for the O's last regular season that they last August 22nd, less than a month after acquiring him, announced having optioned him to AAA Norfolk, and then Rogers was on the 15-day injured list from this past March 27th, retroactive to March 24th to May 11th, due to a right knee subluxation that he suffered during a workout this past January. But he now has been very good in 2 of his 3 major league starts this regular season. The O's on May 24th announced that Rogers would serve as the 27th man for the team's doubleheader, and Rogers in a 2-1 win at the Boston Red Sox on May 24th in Game 2 of a doubleheader in his 2025 major league regular season debut tossed 6 1/3 scoreless innings with 5 5 strikeouts versus no walks. And the O's on June 18th announced having recalled Rogers from AAA Norfolk, but he had a 12-8 loss at the Tampa Bay Rays on June 18th, allowed 3 runs in 2 and a third innings. But he did what he did on Monday evening, what was a brutally hot evening at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, as it has been rather warm lately in the mid-Atlantic region. Here was Orioles interim manager Tony Mansolino during his postgame press conference on Monday night on Trevor Rogers, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
He was going to need the changeup against the right-handed lineup, right? Like that was kind of a prerequisite for the night. In the first inning, he threw a couple, and you thought, okay, this is going to be okay tonight. But then, just the way the fastball jumped through the zone tonight, that was impressive. I think it was in the 8th inning. There's some 95s up on the board, to carry that velocity, through the 8th inning on a 130-degree night. Super impressive. Sweeper slider thing was another gear down from that, so 3 different speeds. It's just really good.
When you see that the game time temperature was 100, I mean, could you expect him to pitch as long and as well as he did just because of that?
I don't know. I mean, the innings kind of got easier as you went on. Those first 3 innings, he threw a lot of pitches, it felt like, or first 2. And then I told Grant Anders, who's sitting next to me, he's like, we need to quicken in right here. He's going to be just fine. And it was the first 1, 2, 3 inning, and then he kind of rolled from there. When it's that type of temperature, it's hard to expect a starter to stay in through the 8th, and pretty impressive.
He's put together 2 really good starts for you guys now. Yeah. Have you seen enough now to see noticeable improvement from what he looked like last year? Oh, no doubt. I mean, he was throwing 88 last year at some point. I mean, that's 95 in the 8th inning, 100 pitches deep. So, in a strange way, that's the third one, the bad outing the other day. For me, that's just a product of a guy that has been in the big leagues for a while. He's fighting for his life a little bit. Get out to an 8-run lead, and he nibbles a little bit. Unfavorable conditions. It's his first start back after the Boston one. And I think in those scenarios for most pitchers, I think that their mentality is usually, I'm going to throw 6 innings and give up 4. And then it usually turns into throwing 7 and giving up 0 in an 8-0 game. But I think because of what he's been through, he's fighting for his life to stay here. So there's pressure, and he's nibbling, and feels like if he goes 5-1, it might not be enough, And I think that's a normal thing for guys that kind of go up and down a little bit. So, I think what we saw in Boston and what we saw tonight, I think that's going to be more what it's going to be like than what we saw in Tampa.
Yeah, Trevor Rogers still has plenty of work to do, but very encouraging what we have seen from him in 2 of his 3 major league starts this regular season. Tony Mansolino in this 6-0 win over the Rangers on Monday evening only had to use 1 reliever, Andrew Kittredge. He tossed a perfect top of the 9th. The Orioles' offense in this game was good. 6 runs, 11 hits, 2 walks, 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The 11 hits were a home run, 3 doubles, and 7 singles. The O's got to Rangers starting pitcher and former National starting pitcher Patrick Corbin, who allowed 5 runs in 5 innings, though he did have 6 strikeouts versus no walks. But Jackson Holliday, he is the Orioles starting second baseman and number 1 batter, went 3 for 5 with a 3-run homer, an RBI double, and a single. Holliday in an Orioles 3-run 5th had a 2-out opposite field 3-run homer to left center field for a 4-0 Orioles lead. The homer went a projected 402 feet per StatCast. Jackson Holliday for this regular season is number 4 among all qualified Orioles players in OPS, 735. We, during Tony Mansolino's postgame press conference on Monday night, had this exchange, and then you'll hear a follow-up exchange.
Jackson Holliday's home run was left on left, opposite field, 2 outs. I mean, how impressive was that swing and the development that you've seen from him this year?
Pretty neat, Like after that swing, I told whoever was standing next to me, I was like, this is your leadoff hitter at least for the next 5 years. Left or right-handed, I don't think this kid goes anywhere else, in the lineup. I think it's, I took him out of the leadoff spot against Skubal. I don't think he'll ever do that. I think he's probably staying there, barring something unforeseen. But he's getting to the point where it's getting more neutral. I was looking at his splits today, his left-handed splits today, and they're not bad. They're definitely going up. He's 21 years old, and it's like Kobe smoked the ball into right center today. It's a different part of the field, but it's, the point being the oppo gap. Kobe's got massive power, and I don't even know if it hit the warning track with how thick the air was tonight, and the ball wasn't really carrying. Jackson hits one to the other gap, the other opposite field, and it went over the wall. That's when you compare that to Kobe, that's pretty impressive.
you feel like Jackson's building a solid case to be an All-Star?
Yeah. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The All-Star thing's important to the players. It's important to the fans. It's important to us. When I look at Jackson, I'm not concerned about the All-Star thing right now. It's like, how do we get this kid to be one of the top 5 players in the game by 2027? That's how I look at Jackson. It's, continuing more left on left. It's, doing what he's doing offensively. It's improving defensively. It's stealing bases, so the All-Star thing's a thing and everybody wants that. But, when I look at Jackson, I look at him from a little different light, bigger goals than the All-Star team for me.
I really like that from Tony Mansolino on Jackson Holliday, who the O's took with the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 MLB draft out of a high school in Oklahoma. This still is only Holliday's age 21 season. He is so young. Regarding him making the American League All-Star team for this season, there are other Orioles players more deserving of that, but Holliday is having an encouraging season. Here was some of Jackson Holliday's post-game session with reporters on Monday night.
How pleased are you with the left-on-left results you're getting? How important was that for you?
Yeah, it's been encouraging lately, being able to face some really good left-hand pitching and have some success, and it's definitely encouraging to be able to put some good at-bats against some good lefties.
Nace Law Group just said he doesn't envision taking you out of the leadoff spot the rest of the year. In fact, thinks you could be there the next 5 years. What does that confidence to hear that from your manager mean to you?
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool to hear that. It means a lot to have his trust and to be able to lead off for such a great team and hopefully set the tone for a while.
Another All-Star voting update came out today, and you're obviously pretty high up there. What's it mean that you're getting that kind of support, and how cool would that be if you got to go there this summer?
Yeah, it's quite an honor, quite a blessing to even be in this situation, but to be able to be on All-Star voting is pretty awesome, and I'm very blessed and lucky to be in this situation, and whatever happens, but it's an honor either way.
What was it like watching Trevor Rogers tonight?
It was awesome. It was a whole lot of fun to play behind him, and it was really special to watch him kind of do his thing tonight and dominate.
All right. Another standout Orioles player on Monday evening was Ramon Laureano. He is the Orioles starting right fielder and number 2 batter, went 2 for 5 with a double and a single. He did strike out 3 times, but Laureano now for this regular season over 170 plate appearances has an OPS of 811. We on Monday did have more bad injury news for the O's. It is amazing the extent to which the O's have been bludgeoned by injury this season. They on Monday afternoon announced having placed catcher Maverick Handley on the 7-day concussion injured list and having transferred first baseman Ryan Mountcastle to the 60-day injured list. Mountcastle had been on the 10-day injured list since May 31st due to a right hamstring strain, but the O's now are down 2 catchers as they this past Saturday afternoon announced having put catcher Adley Rutschman on the 10-day injured list retroactive to June 20th, this due to a left oblique strain. And Tony Mansolino in a pregame session with reporters this past Sunday morning said that Rutschman was not expected back until after the All-Star break. The Orioles starting catcher on Monday evening was Chadwick Trump, who they on Monday afternoon announced having recalled from AAA Norfolk. But Trump went 1 for 4 with a double. Game 2 for the O's against the Rangers at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Tuesday evening at 6:35. Charlie Morton will be the Orioles starting pitcher. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Wednesday show, episode 1102, will include a lot for you on the Commanders. Also on Wednesday show, I'll talk Wizards as we'll preview the Wizards and the 2025 NBA draft with Wizards insider Josh Robbins of The Athletic. And on Wednesday show, we'll talk Nationals and Orioles. The Nats are at the San Diego Padres Tuesday night at 9:40 in Game 2 of a 3-game series. The O's are home to the Texas Rangers Tuesday evening at 6:35 in Game 2 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
With the 6th pick in the 2011 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Jan Vesely from Ostrava, Czech Republic. He last played for Partizan Belgrade.